Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, The Not Retired Life. My name is Leanne, and if this is your first time here, this is a channel where I talk about everything non-retirement. So it's really for those of you who are facing working through your retirement years, whether that's by choice or whether because you want to. So I talk about all the things around that, how to stay positive if you find yourself in a position where you have to work through your retirement years, and just lots of other things around retirement, the sort of pros and cons of retirement versus not retiring. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to stay positive if you find yourself in a situation where you probably will be working through your retirement years. And that can be really tough at our age, especially if you've got friends around you who are retiring or have retired, and you see them sort of doing all sorts of things, or they tell you how much they just love retirement and not working and life's wonderful and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it can be really hard when you catch up with them and they've got all the time in the day to sort of have meetups and, you know, let's go to lunch, and you can't make it because you're working and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it can be really, I don't know, it could just sort of put you off and could, you know, might make you hate your job even more and things like that. And I don't know, it can be a little bit tough, but it doesn't have to be. And I think that in this episode, I want to talk about sort of reframing that, because really, if you find yourself in that situation, then there's nothing you can really do about it. But it's no point being bitter or hating it or all that kind of stuff, because that's just going to hold you back. It stresses you out. It's not good. And I think that you just have to reframe it. So the first thing I'm going to address, which I think is the biggest elephant in the room, is I see so many people out there around my age and they absolutely hate their jobs, and going to work every day is such a drag for them. You know, hate getting out of bed, hate going to work. And I just sort of think, well, you don't have to be in that situation. You don't have to stay in a job you hate. And I just find it, and you're going to hate me for saying this, but I just find it a bit of a cop-out, because nobody's making you stay in that job. And I know it can be really daunting, and I do completely understand that if you've been in a job for, you know, 10 or more years and you haven't been out on the market, you haven't had to go for an interview, get out your resume and get that up to date and all that kind of stuff. So I really do get that. I understand how daunting that can be, but I also look at the flip side of staying in a job you hate, and it just creates stress. So the most important thing for us in our later years is to stay healthy. Like, it's the number one thing. So if you're getting up every day, you don't like the people you work with, you can't stand your work, then that's just going to contribute to chronic disease and being unhealthy, possibly, especially if you're stressed. And the negativity, being negative is just so bad for you. So it's just, there are resources out there that can help you. If you need help with your resume, if you need help with how to go for interviews, all that kind of stuff, that, you know, you've got AI, ChatGPT, that's what I use. I love ChatGPT. But there's lots of resources out there that can help you make that move and just get out of that rut that you're in with work. I can never stay in a job that I don't like, or the people I don't like, or if the job's not giving me satisfaction. There's no way that I can stay. And I've changed jobs three times in the last 3 years. And it's, you know, I've done it, and I'm 63. So a couple of those jobs were jobs that I'd never done before. So very new to me, big learning curve. It can be done, and don't let that put you off. Yes, it is scary. It's daunting, but you can do it. If it's something you don't want to do, then you need to try and find the joy in what you're doing and appreciate it, turn it into a positive. I mean, you're earning money. While you're at work, you're earning money. It allows you to pay off debt. It allows you to do things. It allows you, hopefully, to save a little bit. So you need to have try and have a little bit of gratitude and appreciate what you're doing, appreciate the fact that you actually have a job in this climate, in this economic climate. I think super important. So try and reframe how you look at your work, and then maybe try and find things to do outside of work that give you joy to just keep you going. But yeah, no good staying in a job that you hate and you're dragging yourself out of bed every morning and it just is not giving you satisfaction. So the other thing to do, if it is causing you stress and you find that it's really difficult, I don't know, see if you can drop a day. Can you drop a day of work? Can you do flexi time? There's lots of options out there you can explore. As I said, find things to do on the weekend that give you lots of joy. Take lots of little mini weekenders if you can, and things like that, just to sort of offset that negativity and the work. But ultimately, it's not too late to change jobs in your 60s, 50s, 60s, whatever. It's not too late to change jobs, and you can do it. There's, as I said, resources out there. And the other thing is, like people, the grass is always greener on the other side. People look at retirement as being this wonderful thing where they can just put their legs up, feet up, and watch TV, and that's it, and it's relaxing, and all the stress will go away. And I'm going to go into more depth in this in another episode. But there's a lot of research, and it shows that not all people aren't always happy in retirement. They're not always happy. People will stop work and then all of a sudden their routine goes, their structure goes. They end up sitting in front of the TV. They find themselves actually not as active as what they were when they were working. So they're sitting around a lot. So there's research into this shows that there's a lot more can be if you're not structured. There can be a lot more obesity, type 2 diabetes develops, heart disease. So there's all these kind of things that can happen in your retirement. There's also research around people losing their sense of purpose, finding themselves isolated because they don't have those connections that they've had with work, and depression is a big one. So unless you go into retirement and you're really, and financial pressure is another one, people realise that they all of a sudden have to be a lot tighter with their spending. So you might have stopped work and have put your feet up, but all of a sudden you're not earning the money, and financial pressure is one of the number one stress sort of things, and it's right up there apparently. I'll get my words out, but yeah, stress is not good. So unless you go into retirement with a really good plan, you could end up you could end up with all of those issues. You could end up just, losing all of that structure, being unhealthy, being isolated, being a bit depressed, finding you're a bit bored. And it's actually really common. And I've looked into this and it's actually quite common. So don't always think that retirement is this wonderful thing. And I'm not downplaying retirement. It's just be aware that there's always an offset. There's always a yin and yang with everything. So it's not always everything is fantastic. There's always these opposites. So just be aware of that when you're sort of dreaming of retirement and why am I stuck in this job? I can't stand it. I just want to retire. Just have a think about that. Like, okay, but what are you going to do when you retire? Have you got enough money? Do you have a big, circle of community around you? Are you self-disciplined enough to keep healthy, to get off the couch and stop watching TV and that kind of thing? So there are a few things to keep in mind. So to me, while you're working, you still have all of those. And I think that's a really good thing, especially as we age, keeping our minds really active. So don't forget that. That's a really important thing to consider. And I think the financial thing is a big one. And what I can see with a lot of my friends around, well, not a lot, but a few of my friends around me, is that they have to really watch their money now because they're okay, but they can't do the things that they want to do anymore. They've had to pull it right in. And look, that suits some people. That's fine. It wouldn't suit me so much because I like to do things. But yeah, so I think if you find that you are still working. Another thing that I would do to people tend to take little days off here and there, or they might go on a week holiday and then come back to work and they break it all up. I just think for me personally, and what I've experienced, is not having that week off, because I find that I end up doing nothing. I don't sort of really plan anything, and then the week's over and done with and I'm back at work. And just last year I decided to go to Japan, and I went for 3 weeks, and I felt like I'd been away for 2 months. By the time I got back to work, it was absolutely wonderful. It was a big chunk of time. It allowed me to really relax and enjoy myself, and I felt like I'd really had a good holiday or just a good break from work, and I was so refreshed when I came back to work. So that's another thing to consider if you're still working full time. Stop taking those little short breaks, because they really they go so quickly and you end up sort of not doing much. And I just think, to me, that's a waste of a week's holiday. So just see if you can sort of hang out and sort of group your holiday into a longer one. And I think you will find that you'll come back a lot fresher to work. So the other thing, the last thing I want to touch on is stop fighting it. You're in this position, you're on this path. So stop fighting it, stop complaining about it, stop being bitter, reframe it. You have to reframe it. You have to look at, just focus on the positives, and the biggest thing is you're still earning money. If you're on the pension, what is it, $450 a week or something? You're still earning money. It allows you, if you're in debt, it allows you to keep paying off your debt, to try and get rid of that debt. And to me, debt is one of the worst things that you can sort of carry into retirement. So it allows you to, get rid of as much debt as possible. And it makes a big difference. I've sort of carried debt throughout my life, then I got rid of it, and then I picked it up again, considerable amounts of debt. And I find myself now debt-free again. I'm in a position where I did sell my house. It allowed me to clear debt. I don't own a house now. I have to rent, but that's okay. I'm happy to rent and not have any debt. So my money that I earn is not going out every week paying off debt. So to me, that's a big one. So while you're working, you can still do that. You can still go on holidays. Lots of people work and they save up till their retirement to go on holidays. And I just sort of think, we're in this position now, us people who can't retire, we're in this position now where we're getting older, we're not retiring. So why not, if you can put some money away for holidays, take them now. Like, who cares? Take them now. We're in our 60s. I'm not going to wait until later and try and sock away every penny that I've got just in case whatever. I want to enjoy my life now. So I'm not being reckless. I am still investing little bits when I can, and I still save when I can. But I am going to enjoy my life now. So while you are still working, you can do that. You can go, even if you can't afford to go overseas and it's little mini sort of, a week, hit the road. I love road trips. Just things like that. Don't hold off on that, because if you were younger, I don't believe in it anyway, really, people who don't do that because they're saving or wanting to put everything away for retirement. But we're not in a position to do that. So make the most of it now. And while you're still working, don't wait until later, because you don't know what's going to happen. We're at that age where, things start happening to our bodies, things crop up, and you just don't know what's around the corner at all. So I would definitely be enjoying a little bit of that now and while you're still working. So yeah, try and reframe it. Don't drag yourself to work every day. It is so bad for you, and it's not good for your health. And if you find yourself hating it so much and thinking about changing work, as I said earlier, there are resources out there that can help you with that. Talk to friends, talk to people who've been through it. Try and sort of connect. There is a way out. You do have options. You do have choices. But all in all, don't work through these years being negative and bitter. It's not going to help you. It's not going to achieve anything. And we are all in this position. There's a lot of us in this position. So, find the enjoyment in it. Try and find the positives in it. Anyway, I hope that's helped for today. Stay tuned for my next video. And thanks for tuning in. Bye.